Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an Enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
War Eagle, and welcome to another edition of Ever to Podcast. This is our get-together with you for the Auburn family to catch up on the latest Auburn news, topics, discussions, things that you need to be aware of when you're going to try to have discussions around the water cooler on social media in the Auburn experience. That includes Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. If it's orange and blue, though, it's what we do, to put it to a finer point. So thank you so much for joining us and what we're going to be doing. Ever to Podcast, episode 86. Today's date is February 6, 2026. And I, as your host, Kyle Loomis, thank you for joining us as always. And as we've gotten used to with this new format, doing it on Fridays, we're going to walk through different news stories within different major topics, primarily around the different Auburn athletics programs to start with, some of the university and other topics as well. So we're going to walk you through all of that. And at the end, we are going to give you what to look forward to this weekend in Auburn sports. So you should feel pretty informed about what's happened and what you're going to be paying attention to this weekend. One thing I just thought of off the top of my mind that we need to include on the weekend as well. I'll make sure to do that at the end. In fact, we'll end with it. Let's stop just talking about doing it. Let's do it and talk about it. We'll start with Auburn in the pros to get us going. Always like to cover this angle just to catch up on how some of our former Auburn Tigers are doing and some of the cool things that's happening for them. If you've been an Auburn soccer fan, you'll know the name, Hayden Colson. She's gotten an invite to preseason camp with the Portland Thorns. First time I've ever heard of that team, to be honest with you, but she's getting an invite up there. So congratulations to Hayden Colson moving into a different space in the pros. This is actually kind of pertinent right now with the Winter Olympics. Now, what I'm talking about is more the Summer Olympics, but I believe this person would have some effect on the entirety of the Olympics. That is the name Christy Coventry. If you are an Auburn person, if you're an Olympics fan, you should know that name. Very prominent name in the women's swimming space. Alongside Rowdy Gaines, those are probably two Auburn's most prominent names in the Olympics space, other than like Charles Barkley. But Christy Coventry already has been part of the board and the president of that international body that manages that. I'm forgetting the terminology here off the top of my head. The affairs of the Olympics and stuff like that. But now, on top of that honor, she's being honored with this Charles McCaffrey Award, which celebrates a collegiate swimmer or diving grad who's made a lasting impact beyond the pool. And so, obviously, if you are the president of the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, I think I got it there now, you're going to be having an impact off of that. So congratulations to Christy Coventry, representing Auburn very well, representing herself and her country very well by having such a big influence on Olympics and swimming and Auburn. So congrats to her. One more thing in the pro space today. It's kind of an ongoing story because we have been talking about Dylan Cardwell a lot with how well he's been doing at the Kings and him earning a new contract. Well, officially, as of like this evening of me doing this, because I do this the night before it comes out on Fridays, you've got him signing his contract officially, a full NBA contract. What a story. What a crazy, just wild thing. We chronicled that on the main podcast, the Auburn Experience this week, talked about, the notion that he was brought in to secure someone else's commitment and was kind of a secondary thought, and look at him now. So proud of Dylan, and now that it's officially ink to paper, I was going to say pen to paper, but whatever you want to say, congrats to Dylan Cardwell. All right, we got a ton of baseball stuff. Baseball is just around the corner, so there's a lot of this preseason awards and type of stuff, so just sit with us on this for just a second. You've got a lot to look forward to in your sophomore class. 3 guys have been named to the All-SEC preseason list. You're going to hear one of those names a lot, a couple of them actually. Chris Rimbert, obviously at second base. Your catcher, Chase Fralick. Second team for him. Chris was first team. Bub Terrell on second team as well for the outfield. So those are your three guys on the preseason All-SEC team. All sophomores. This team's being led by a lot of young talent with some experience now that they're sophomores. But congrats to them. Like I said, much more coming. Let's stay with Chase Fralick for a second. He was named to the Buster Posey Award watch list, obviously going to the top catcher of college baseball. So no shock there that as a super sophomore, he would be getting an opportunity to be on that watch list. Also this week named was the Auburn baseball TV schedules. Now, I won't go through the entirety of it, but if you want to find that, just go to Auburn baseball social media accounts, and looks like there's an article written on it as well. Alabama, 2 Kentucky games, Gators, Texas A&M, Mississippi State. The entirety of the Mississippi State series is going to be on that. This is national television. Remember, you can watch the majority, if not all, I would say the majority probably, of Auburn's baseball games on the SEC Network Plus option, but these are going to be your nationally televised game, SEC Network, ESPN2, ESPNU. Your opportunity to see Auburn on those national stages on national television. Back to watch list and back to rankings and all this stuff. If you've been paying attention, we've been chronicling that in all of the major entities, media groups that have given out their rankings, Auburn is a consensus top 10 team across the board. That last one was the USA Today, putting them at number 9. So you've seen them as high as 5, I believe, a 6, a bunch of 9s. They're a top 10 team in most people's minds, even with all this young talent leading the Auburn Tigers this year. So what a bunch of hype that is already building for this team already. D1 Baseball named their top 52nd baseman. Chris Rimbert is at the top of that list. No shock there if you've been kind of following how we've been going in all of this baseball news. Also, for Chris Rimbert as well, preseason first-team All-America for baseball. This is Baseball America. Preseason first-team All-America, preseason player of the year watch list for them. It just keeps going for Chris Rimbert. It just keeps going. And one more schedule note for you. As of today, that being this Thursday before the Friday you're hearing this or that it comes out, the Montgomery Biscuits, I believe, are managing the ticket options for this game on Auburn's schedule because it's being played at Riverwalk. Auburn versus South Alabama. Those tickets are now available. That is a March 24th game. I would highly recommend that you consider going to this game. It's not far from Auburn if you're in the region already. Obviously, there's a huge contingency of Auburn fans. They're going to be in the Montgomery area, come down from Birmingham, up from Mobile. There's probably going to be a good contingency of South Alabama fans. I really love that Auburn maximizes this. I hate it's not part of the whole Auburn-Alabama non-conference situation anymore. That was fun for a while. But I'm happy that we're bringing in teams like South Alabama where you can kind of meet at a halfway point, essentially, and play them and give an opportunity for both fan bases to come together. So tickets are available now if you want that. And keep in mind, this it won't be for this option, but if you're ever wanting to support what we do here, a great option for you is if you go and shop at SeatGeek, which is the official ticket partner for all or pretty much all of Auburn's ticket options. If you use our code E2C Network, that gets you $20 off your first time purchase there. So just take a look at that and use that option when you can as a reminder. Some of you have already done that a lot for us. All right, softball. Well, a lot of excitement this week for softball. We previewed it in the podcast, getting ready for this first game. They've got a humongous series, not series, but classic that they're going to be part of this weekend. And we'll start here. They got word that they were going to have 6 of their games on the SEC Network and be able to see that. All that said in an article if you want to see your opportunities to watch or see the broadcast, the national broadcast schedule for Auburn softball this year. They took their first game this week, and today actually it was against North Florida. And I think you put that on the schedule and you think, hey, it's probably going to be a win and have a 1-0 situation going into a very challenging leadoff classic for the next rest of the weekend. Unfortunately, the Tigers got run ruled in 5 innings, 3-11. Had a lot of errors, miscues, and fielding, it sounds like. And it wasn't on TV, so we weren't able to watch it. But, yeah, not the way you want to start losing to North Florida. Now, if you want a little bit of a caveat, it does sound like that North Florida is supposed to be the tops of their conference this season. I don't know if that helps you out at all in feeling better about this situation, but we're going to report it as it is here. All right, we're switching over now to some tennis news. Let's start with women's tennis. I continue to tell you folks, you got to pay attention to this group right here. If you're not doing that, you're missing out on what could be the surprise ending of Auburn spring sports, kind of like that men's golf where it kind of caught storm for a lot of people. For this week, SEC Player of the Week honor for DJ Bennett, who's one of those leaders of that women's tennis program. So congrats to her. This weekend and for the next several days, hopefully, Auburn's going to be competing in the ITA Indoor Championships. And so that is taking place throughout the weekend. The bracket is set if you want to go see that. I can really briefly talk about that with you. Auburn is a 1 seed on the other side, on one side of the bracket, and there are, looks like 16 teams total. They will take on Northwestern first. If they were to win that, they would take on the winner of Oklahoma State and NC State. And then they would, if they were to win that, they would take off on the winner of this other portion of the bracket, which includes Tennessee, LSU, Virginia, Georgia, a lot of SEC talent over there to potentially get over to the other side of the bracket in the championship, who could be, let's just maybe say North Carolina, the 1 seed, Oklahoma, the 2 seed, just throwing it out there for some at least likely options based on how the seeding is going. So exciting week for Auburn women's tennis, and they got off to a good start this week by taking down Michigan up in Ann Arbor 5-0, taking the doubles point and all of the available singles points with an unfinished match at the end. For men as well, they're getting going in their spring portion. We'll talk more about them coming up. Track and field, Jacoby Tharp, you should know that name. He is on the Bowerman Award watch list to start off the year, and he remains there after the first couple weeks of competition. That is essentially the Heisman, and he came in the top 3 for it last year. I think he probably came in second place if I'm just guessing, but he's still on that watch list as they were getting updated. All right, basketball updates for you. Boy, oh boy, what a week. Obviously, it's been a slow week for men's basketball with no midweek game, but Jungle Village is back, and it's already been happening all week as I speak right now. That I'm even seeing images and videos out about them, and it's going to kick in a fever pitch on Friday and into Saturday morning and such. If you don't know what Jungle Village is, it's where this natural let's camp out before a football game, before a men's basketball game started, and it became such a big thing. But now it's a little bit more easily managed and orderly managed. I will tell you, there is nothing like that first one. If you ever want to go watch some videos of that, you should. We've got some up on our YouTube channel of just the sheer mayhem of it all. And it felt like Woodstock out there. But it's really cool, even in its more orderly state right now. So go check out some of that. We're going to do our best, potentially heading to campus this weekend to cover some of that. So we'll hopefully have some of that on our end on our social media account for you as well. I'm just lingering on a lot of stuff here. We got to get going here. Some more basketball news for the men other than looking forward to the game. We'll get to that calendar of events for the weekend here in a second. Andy Katz has put out his updated bracket. If you're interested where Auburn currently falls on his particular bracket, they're still at a 7 seed, I believe. I lost them here on the bracket for a second. Give me 1 second. In the Midwest. So they are listed at the 7 seed, which would ironically set them up for a game with USC. Chad Baker-Mazara is over there. He did get an injury this week, so I'm not sure what his situation is over there, but that would be quite interesting. Playing in St. Louis. They would also have to play Iowa State as the number 2 seed in that bracket. Michigan is also going to be there. Purdue is in that bracket. Kentucky is in that bracket. There's just there's a murderer's row that Auburn would have to overcome if this were to be the bracket at the end of it. But just something to whet your appetite a little bit for March Madness. All right. Women's basketball, rough week for them. Not only did they have their game moved around for Ole Miss from the previous weekend to this Monday, they lost 71-45. Ole Miss is number 13 in the land at that time, so not a shock there. And they just had a heartbreaker against Florida. They were leading at the half, but they lose 61-53 and weren't able to sweep the Gators this year, which is unfortunate because that's always a good rivalry game of sorts. Auburn and Florida having a lot of connective tissue. So rough week for women's basketball in the murderer's row that is SEC women's basketball. Men's golf is getting going in the Amir Ari Invitational out there in Hawaii every year. Every time I see them go do this, I'm just super jealous. They get to go out there and do that. I guess I could have learned to play golf and gotten good at it and maybe had an opportunity to do this. I digress. Men's golf. They've completed the first round as of doing this podcast. They are sitting very nicely in first. Apparently they did a program record in the second lowest round in NCAA history. I don't know if that's at this particular event or overall, but 32 under, sitting at first right now. Jackson Coyven is leading the way. He's second overall individually. But our guys are sitting at second, fifth, tied for ninth, both tied for ninth there. 22nd, 42nd, the six that are out there competing and scoring for Auburn right now. So great first match for them in the spring. Women's golf, a little bit of a note here. SEC Golfer of the Week. There was a lot of SEC player, golfer, athlete of the week for her performance at the UCF Challenge, and it is a co-player of the week. Katie Cranston, congratulations to her. And the last couple things that we have here, let's do some football stuff. I know that y'all been waiting for me to get to all of that. It was going to get here eventually. This week was National Signing Day, 26. I know. It used to be a much bigger thing. Not so much anymore. But we did have one signee the night before National Signing Day happened. And that was a kicker. We are going to Australia again, or at least down to that region again, to pick up yet another wonder from down under at punter. Now, I believe I have his name correctly. Max Burke. It's spelled differently, but I believe it's Max Burke from Melbourne, Australia. It'll be interesting to see if he is a traditional Australian-style punter with the way they kind of have that unique setup for punting. Haven't seen a whole lot of him yet, but congrats to him congrats to Auburn for grabbing him, and welcome to Auburn football. Adds him to the special teams room and helping bolster that up. This year he has 4 years of eligibility, so it looks like we're setting up the future for Auburn at punter once again from the land down under. Quick note that I couldn't find an official link for other than emails that were sent out. Apparently, 8A is going to be free this year for general bowl seating. Let me clarify that. General bowl seating, which is the bulk of who is going, right? So that's a change, folks. If you were wondering about 8A, maybe you've been turned away over the last couple of years or turned off by it because it was a paid thing the last couple of years. I get it. I really do. But it's free. Let me say that again. It is free. You need to come out to this 8A. It is going to be a full-blown production. Tiger Walk. I'm wondering now if we're going to get a surprise Eagle flight pretty much at this point. It wouldn't shock me. But they haven't announced that. The band is going to be there. I'm sure Obby, cheerleaders, Tiger Paws, the whole crew is probably going to be there. It's free for the general bowl seating. They sent the email out. So make sure you consider coming out. We'd love to see you there. We're planning on being there. And I would also, part of this National Signing Day 26, lack thereof hype, but there was great information from the press conferences with Coach Alex Galesh, OC Joel Gordon, and DC DJ Durkin. We'll have all of those up online by the time that you're hearing this pretty much. We have 2 of them up currently. Highly recommend that you take the time to go listen, put them on in the background. You can find them on our YouTube channel in full so you can get a lot of your questions that I've seen a lot of you have answered. So there you go. There's some football information for you all. Let's do some general athletic stuff. And this one is going to be something that is, it's related to Auburn because of its past. A little bit of, I wouldn't say surprising news this week, but more so, maybe it's the timing of things. I don't know. Coach Gus Malzahn, former Auburn head coach. I'm going to hold my tongue there for whether or not he should have still been there. Anyway, he has decided to retire. Congratulations, Coach Gus Malzahn. I know it's probably one of those things where he probably wishes he could still be coaching, but we're seeing more and more of the old guard step away in this changing landscape, realizing that they don't really want to be involved in that so much anymore. I'm putting words in his mouth, but I'm sure that's at play with it. He released a whole statement you can go find for yourself. Just really excited for him and thankful that we have him as part of our history. Wish it had been longer. If you've been following our content, you know my stance on that, and I will debate anyone and win that debate any day now. But obviously, we're very happy for Coach Gus Malzahn. And Auburn did acknowledge that there were some people concerned about why they were taking so long to do it. They put a post out today congratulating him for his career and to enjoy his retirement. General SEC news that does affect Auburn. The SEC announced today that they are doling out $1.03 billion in total revenue to its 16 universities. Auburn, obviously, one of the individuals will get a portion of that, and it's the same for most of them. $72.4 million to Auburn, and the other individual schools, for the majority of them, will get that as well. There's some stipulations for Texas and Oklahoma, as I understand it. But Auburn, $72.4 million to your athletic programs, supports all of that, especially some of those that don't generate as much revenue. That's a great sign, and so some big news today for supporting all of the athletics programs. All right, we're almost done here. University news, some cool things here. We have got the groundbreaking of the brand new home for the College of Human Sciences. Most of you know that Spidal Hall came crashing down over the last several months and during football season as well. That demolition and leveling for everything has been completed, and as of today, they had the groundbreaking ceremony. So I'm not guaranteeing that we'll do big updates like we've done for some of the other construction projects, but you never know. It might be fun to track that one. But if you are going to be on campus anytime soon, you can watch the new home for College of Human Sciences come to fruition. Auburn University also announced that they're launching America 250, which is you see a lot of people getting involved in this. 250 years of the United States, a lot of people doing things to celebrate. They're going to have a signature speaker series, which is going to open March 30th, 2026, obviously. And you're going to have some great people there being obviously moderated conversations, things like that. Secretary of State, former Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice, I'm a big fan of hers, is going to be a commentator, and then Arthur Margaret Hoover at the Jay and Susie Gouge Performing Arts Center, if you're interested in hearing that. And this is going to be more local stuff, but it does affect Auburn folks. And I want to stress this first one. Austin and I are going to probably have a debate about this on the next show, if there's room for it, and I think there will be. But the AMC, the movie theater in Auburn, over there near the mall, is closed, has officially closed, and it's probably going to sit vacant for a little bit. A lot of discussions about, why, it's a shame that happened. I went to so many movies there when I was at college. And then what happens to it now? I've seen some other people share the idea. I have a very, very good idea about what should happen here and how it can help get a different type of Auburn sport that's not getting as much attention because they're forced to compete so far away from Auburn. You might be catching my drift. We'll talk about it. A little tease if we have time on the next episode of the Auburn Experience, our main podcast. But sad that that's closed. And then finally, this is a little, even like a personal thing for me. I don't know if anybody's tried Small's Sliders out there on Opelika Road. I tried it for the first time this football season. Liked it a lot, but it's apparently closing, at least temporarily. So I don't know what's going on there, but if that's something that you've come to know and love, be aware of that. Don't know what's going on there, but I wanted to share that for if you're looking for things to eat while you're in Auburn, things you want to try. You can't do that one right now. And finally, let's talk about your calendar of events for the weekend that you need to be prepared to pay attention to. A lot going on here. We'll start on Friday. Men's golf is going to continue in the Amir Ari Invite, if I can get that out. Rounds 2 and 3. Stretching into Saturday. Swimming and diving is going to be hosting the Auburn Invite. So if you're coming to campus for the Alabama game, if you're coming to campus for gymnastics meet, That's another thing Friday. You can obviously take that in, and it's free to go to that. I would highly encourage you to go check it out. Softball starts in the leadoff classic. Friday, they're going to take on Notre Dame and then Michigan State. Women's tennis will be at the ITA Indoor Invitational, obviously playing Northwestern, as we already mentioned, and then hopefully continuing on and on and on. Men's tennis at Clemson, and then gymnastics Friday night, capping it off versus Kentucky. I know a lot of the students will be there who are camping out. Keep in mind, they're camping out up until the game Saturday for men's basketball. Men's golf, we already talked about the Mirari Invite continuing. Swimming and diving, the Auburn Invite continuing on Saturday. Equestrian at South Carolina, and that's probably going to be their last one before they head home for some more meets here in Auburn. Softball leadoff classic action for them is going to be Clemson and Pitt that day. And then, once again, the big one of the day, Auburn men's basketball versus Alabama. The Iron Ball, as I call it, not the Iron Bowl of basketball, the Iron Ball. That's a big, big one. And Sunday, softball will finish up in the leadoff classic versus Penn State. Women's basketball continues their Murderers Row versus LSU. That's tough for them right now. And keep in mind the Super Bowl, on Sunday. You can watch some Auburn guys, Carlton Davis on the Patriots. Had to almost set his old team there. And then 4 guys on the Seahawks. You got 2 players, Derek Hall, Nehemiah Pritchett, 2 coaches, Josh Bynes and Nico Thorpe. Congrats to all of them for making the Super Bowl, and you pick your team and you pick your Auburn players you want to see succeed. I will say Carlton Davis has won a Super Bowl, but I digress. Anyway, that was a lot. I didn't expect us to go that long on this episode of Ever to Podcast, but I thank you for sticking with me. Again, our goal here is to keep you informed, help you have things to talk about, give you some of the information sources and all that kind of stuff. So I hope that you find this enjoyable. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying the new format and schedule of doing this on Fridays. Again, we will, as needed, if there's extra episodes that need to be done, which maybe it should have been this episode. I'm tired. But hope you're enjoying it. As always, if you want to keep up with us, you can do so by following social media. Our direct messages are open at most of those places. If you want to contact us, e2cnetwork@gmail.com is also a great way to get in connect with me personally, but just E2C Network in general. And as always, we appreciate you being here and spending some time with us, being part of our little family within the Auburn family. As we go, I remind you, the Auburn Creed asks you to do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.